Good morning. I am Kevin Price. Delighted to be with you. Going to spend some time talking to you about you and your business. I'm also going to talk a little bit about what's happening in the political front as well, which I like to do because, frankly, politics should be part of your business. One of the reasons why we have so many problems today on the political and economic front, the reason why businesses don't function at the level that they should. We have 90 million people that are unemployed, most of whom historically would have been employed under different economies. It's because we have people who simply don't show up. Doug Williamson is an author who is one of those people who has been involved in politics most of his adult life, but got to the point where he said something more is required, leading him to write a book called Thoughts of an American Taxpayer, which is really as much a manifesto as it is a really smart book on what's wrong with the economy and what we need to do about it. And he's a regular contributor on this program. He also has a great website called thepatriotsview.com. Plus, we have excellent content of him from him over at usdailyreview.com and priceofbusiness.com. Doug, as always, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks, Kevin. Thanks for having me on, buddy.
You bet. Glad to. Tell us a little bit about the book and what motivated you to write it. We always like to do that to get started.
Right. Well, back in, I think it was November 5th, 2008, when Obama was elected and everything, that I started looking at the political atmosphere and everything, and it just seemed like it just started, I guess it had been deteriorating for a long time, but it really seemed like it just gone to hell in a handbag. So I sat down and just started making some notes after that, and I just concerned about, the family, my friends, and all that going forward and everything. And not that I was a big John McCain, follower or anything, but I just thought he was a hell of a lot better than Obama because I guess I listened to shows like yours and Hannity and Levin like that to find out exactly what kind of guy he was. And if people actually, I still think a lot of people still don't know the story behind this guy. And I just, more notes I wrote, the more pages I gathered, and I finally just said, I'm going to put this in a book and see if I can get it printed. And the rest is history. I had the original published, and then had it updated with Tate Publishing in 2011 or 12, I think it was. We did an update of it.
Yeah, it's a really very solid book, and I encourage people to check it out. Best way to do that is to go to patriotsview.com.
Scares a lot of people. It's got a lot of facts in there.
Yeah, very, very factual, very smart, and a lot of common sense, which, frankly, we are in huge need of. There's a
big demand for it.
A big demand. I'd say there's a big demand. There should be a big demand for it, but I don't see people rallying for it. I see them rallying for more benefits and more programs, and more victimhood status, but not much common sense. But we need people rallying for that. I'm glad there's a largesse of that in this book to help those like myself who are looking for that. Now, you got a big trip coming up very quickly to New York. Talk a little bit about that.
I do. I leave on Thursday, but on Friday I start with the book signing and everything, Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday a finale, and then I'm going to be in New York a few days, one day before and a few days afterwards, just to hang out a little bit and maybe go by and see if the Donald wants to start carrying the book around with him and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that'll be pretty interesting. I think we're going to go through the Fox News channel on Friday, I think, afternoon.
Well, that'd be good. That'd be good. I've got several friends there. Give them a shout for me. Talk a little bit about, so are you going to be at doing a signing at a bookstore or kind of giving
I think it's actually going to be at the Doubletree there. It's going to be set up at the Doubletree and on Stone Street. I think it's 8 Stone Street there in New York. And we're going to sign, I think, Friday evening, Saturday, and then there's going to be a few trips in between there, too, going around the city. And I don't know if we're going to sign anywhere around the city, but we're going to, like the Statue of Liberty and Fox, and there's a few other trips we're going to take.
Yeah, well, we look forward. We're going to get an update from you. How long are you going to be there? Thursday through?
I'll be actually there Thursday through Wednesday. I'll be with my publisher most of Friday and Saturday, or Friday afternoon, starting Friday afternoon.
I think we'll be looking for you then on the radio sometime early next week to kind of give us an update on how it's going. Yeah.
Yeah, even Sunday, Monday would be good.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit about, what's happening on the political front, lots of interesting things. I thought it was interesting. I loved seeing the candidate revolt because CNBC was revolting.
Why did they even allow them, Kevin, to even throw the debate?
I don't get it. I think Ted Cruz, whose numbers went up significantly after the way he handled them, really kind of epitomized the problem that's going on with these networks. It did look more like mud wrestling match. At least that's what they were trying to create,
Well, exactly.
And the Democrats were boasting how their debate was like a policy wonk, debate. Everything's driven by the debate moderators. And so the debate moderators for the Democrats gave them that policy wonk debate. Exactly. Ever since Fox News began this whole process, it's not been allowed to be that for the Republicans. It's amazing.
Well, it is, and that's the reason I called the media back even in November of 2008. I started calling them back then the Chavez-Obama media.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what they are. They have done so much damage to this country, just like this president. 20 trillion in debt, or headed toward 20 trillion in debt. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah. It's interesting, though, is it appears the media is being dismissed almost entirely on the GOP side.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's
they're just right there in bed with them, aren't they?
Well, no, what I mean by that is that the GOP base is saying we don't care what the media says. It's like they've now lost all credibility with the GOP base, which I think is a good thing.
I do too.
I don't like who they're racing to the top, in the case of Donald Trump, although now we're seeing a surge by Ben Carson. But nonetheless, I'm finding it to be an improvement to look at all these people unfiltered rather than allowing the media to do the filtering, because them, even with their ignorance, is better than the media filtering, which is so politically motivated and driven.
I agree with that. I mean, it's just... they've just lost touch. It's sort of like D.C. I mean, D.C. has lost touch with the whole world. I mean, those guys, I don't even understand what's going on in their states.
Yeah, so. I think you're right. I liked it when they were talking about a revolt. I liked it when they were talking about, these candidates were talking about, we're going to set these new rules. And then it began to fall apart. And it's interesting to see who were the ones that were making it fall apart. Carly Fiorina, who went from megastar to kind of like limping along just in a matter of a few weeks, was really weird to watch. It just shows you the reality show, American Idol culture of this presidential campaign. The guys who are barely out there, Kasich, limping along. Right. Everyone who needs more debates, we're no longer interested in whipping the media into shape. It was almost like a story of the haves versus have-nots.
Right. And Jeb Bush, even to a certain extent. I mean, there's a lot of these guys. Why are they still even in the race?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Perennially, I'm asking that question. The reality is, though, is there's only 2 points between him and Ted Cruz, who I consider a serious candidate.
I like Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz is, frankly, I liked him all along, but he has really gotten strong with that last debate. Really got strong.
He can actually articulate things, can he?
He really can. Marco Rubio, who I think is kind of a moderate policy-wise, he's done a great job on his feet.
Right.
I think he's very articulate.
Rand Paul's just sort of, I'm sort of amazed that he hasn't done better than what he has. I mean, he's a really good candidate.
He's a great.
I know Rand. I think
Rand's a good old friend of mine, and he gets irritated by what I say. But I've got a responsibility in what I do, and the reality is that he's probably the most qualified and certainly most philosophically aligned with me of all the candidates. Right. But he simply doesn't resonate, and he always seems inconvenienced when he's doing a debate. If you feel that way, don't do the debates and stay home and watch TV and see who wins the election in November of next year.
Exactly.
But otherwise, embrace it, be excited about it, and cherish the opportunity. I think he may be on the little boy stage next time because his numbers will continue to shrink.
I think so. I think you're right, Kevin, because, like you said, he's such a great candidate and he's such a great man. I mean, his dad, down here in Houston or outside of Houston for a lot of years is pretty much been, what he was when he stepped in there, where a lot of these guys, when they step in there, seem like just a few years they're changed. Even Marco Rubio, to a certain extent. I mean, look at him when he first stepped in there and look at him now.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It seems like those guys corrupt each other, or not corrupt, but not especially in Marco's case. But, I mean, it seems like they just changed their attitude, and I guess they just feel whipped.
What's the saying? Power tends to corrupt. Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Exactly.
And that's the culture of Washington. With just about 30 seconds left, real quickly, what about the rise of Ben Carson?
I'm sorry?
What about the rise of Ben Carson?
I like Ben. I mean, did you hear him in that? I don't watch Meet the Press or whatever it is on Sundays. I just saw that Ben was on there, and I was amazed by some of his stories. But I mean, he's just an honest guy. He's straightforward, and what comes out of his mouth, he says what he means and means what he says.
Yeah, that seems to be the case.
Straightforward. I mean, he's not a habitual liar like most of the Democrats.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I spend a lot of time in social media, more than I should, to be honest with you, I think. And there's a lot of people that don't like him on the right, and I'm trying to figure out why, and a lot of the answers that I get when I press him on it are very almost personal, and it's like, wow, it almost kind of lends to the whole right-wingers are racist type thesis.
Right.
It's very strange. Frankly, I could care less what color a person is. It's what they bring to a situation. And, when I look at that group of candidates, I think he brings more than most of them do.
I think you're right. I mean, Ben is a really unique individual.
Yep, I think you're right. Any final thoughts before we let you go?
I'll just keep you updated and look forward to this trip here. Hopefully it'll really start this book off, because like I said, it started back in, I think the first one was published in 2009, and then the other one, and the update was done in 2012. So hopefully it can get some base starting to follow it, and maybe get a few copies of this thing sold and help out the taxpayers out there. There
you go. I think it was a great idea. Thoughts of an American Taxpayer, Doug Williamson. He's a regular here on the program. ThePatriotsView.com. ThePatriotsView.com. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it.
You bet. When we come back, much more for you. Do want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at USDailyReview.com, and this is The Price of Business.